gotta run. This is Will Sanchez. My very special guest tonight is Kim LiCalzi. Kim is one of 6 persons that did the research.
Run for the Rabbit. Out of hundreds of applicants, we've chosen 6 runners.
Please welcome Kim to the show. Kim, let's get started by sharing with us, where were you born, a little bit about your schooling and your family.
I was born on Long Island. I grew up in Manhasset. I attended Manhasset High School, and for college I went to Fairfield University in Connecticut. After that, I got my master's in education at NYU.
Before we go into it, you're speeding along here. Were you involved in athletics as a youngster?
I grew up dancing, skating, doing all sorts of activities, and in high school I focused on swimming and track.
When you went into college, were you athletically inclined at that point?
Not in a team, but I always would run or do swim meets or different gym activities, always active, but not on a team.
Okay. What was your major in college?
I was an English major.
Excellent, English. So what happened after college?
Right after college, a week later actually, I went and started my master's at NYU, and I got my master's in general education and special education.
Wait a minute, it sounds like you're a teacher.
I am.
Excellent. What do you teach?
I teach 3rd grade right now.
That's 9-year-olds?
They're 8 and 9, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Now, we mentioned that you're one of 6 athletes that did the Run for the Rabbit, which is sponsored by Jackrabbit Sports.
I've found it's tough to explain what it is Jackrabbit does. What we wanted to do is tell the story, how different kinds of people work with Jackrabbit, work through themselves to go along this journey to finish a marathon. And so that was the impetus for the Run for the Rabbit campaign.
Tell us, how did you hear about it, and what was the process of being one of the 6 selected?
I heard about it just from an email. I get Jackrabbit the newsletter every month, and there was an announcement that they were looking for passionate runners and people that had a specific cause in mind to train for the Hamptons Marathon and fundraise. And I immediately thought this was the most perfect thing for me to apply for, and I did. We went through, I think, 2 kind of screening interview things, and they announced the winners in April.
How many people applied?
I think close to 400 applicants.
Wow, that is excellent. What was the criteria for the 6? Do you have to be different boroughs or anything like that?
No, and they really, they weren't looking for, crazy athletic or super competitive people. It was more about the charity, which I really liked, and they were looking for people that were really passionate about their cause, but also, they looked for people that were going to be determined enough to run a marathon.
Excellent. So you didn't have to do a marathon before or any kind of an endurance event?
No, there are actually, I think, 4 of the runners. The Hamptons Marathon was their very first marathon.
Well, that is so cool. So, but you said you've done other marathons. What were some of the other things you've done before the Run for the Rabbit? I
did the New York City Marathon, and that was amazing. It was a fantastic experience. The following year, I ran in the Marine Marathon in Washington, D.C., which was, again, a really inspiring race.
That's the People's Marathon.
Yeah, the People's Marathon.
That's one of my favorites, by the way, yes.
It was a great race. And a few months after that, I ran the Miami Marathon, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's pretty close together, so you really like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and now you're one of the participants for Run for the Rabbit. But describe some of the training that they provided. The
training was intense. It was nothing like I had done before. I always trained on my own, kind of decided what I needed to run and when, and I worked with...
It's Jonathan Kane, and I coach runners. I've worked with Jackrabbit ever since they opened the first shop. I'm excited and motivated by working with runners, triathletes, cyclists, and I really love what I do.
Short run would be 10 miles.
So it's going to be a challenge from a coaching perspective to get each of them to the finish line and to meet their goals.
Jonathan Kane, and he was an excellent coach and had me on a very strict schedule, and I ran very diligently, and it was a very cool experience. I liked being organized and having a set schedule every week.
It sounds like he tailored the program for each of you. Is that the case? And
exactly.
Evaluated your strengths and weaknesses, so to speak?
Yeah, we talked via email a lot, and we met on certain occasions. I ran with his running group a few times on Thursday nights. So.
The city coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a wonderful group.
Yeah.
One thing you said, it was organized. What else did catch your eye that was different and exciting?
I think the most different aspect of the training was they were very focused runs. Like as just a person going out to train for a marathon on my own, I always just ran. I did the distance, I got it done. I'd usually try to go as fast as I could most of the time. But with Coach Kane, it was very specific. I had speed workouts and I had workouts where I was, supposed to do little to no effort, which was new for me, and workouts where, I just was trying to get the distance in.
Hey, Kim, I'm Jonathan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Coach John seems dedicated and smart. I wanted to break 4, didn't. And then my third, same goal, and I think it was 4:02.
Okay. So we're knocking on the door.
He seemed passionate about my cause and about me, and I think we're going to be a great team.
Tell me a little bit more, if you can, about the charity and what it means to you.
Throughout the process, I tried to keep in the back of my mind that for me, this was very much about my charity, and I was running this for Ace in the Hole Foundation, and I tried to make that my priority. But as far as the physical aspect, I did want to break 4 hours, but it was not in the cards that day.
Let's talk about the charity. So if I recall, each of the runners had a charity that they were personal to them that they picked. And in your case, yours is called Ace in the Hole. Tell us about that charity.
Ace in the Hole Foundation was started by my husband's family in memory of my husband's twin brother, Mike LiCalzi. And Mike died in Iraq in May 2006. He was United States Marine Corps, and the charity is all in memory and honor of him.
Oh, so sorry to hear about your loss. Why is it called Ace in the Hole? Is the name significant?
Ace in the Hole is the motto of the 2nd Tank Battalion, where Mike was a Marine.
Ace in the Hole, well, that implies that they were probably the ones called in either to secure a victory or to secure a rescue, so they were a very, very important group with that kind of name.
Strong people.
What was the incident that caused him his death?
Mike was in a tank, and they were going over a bridge that collapsed, and the tank went down, and he drowned, along with everyone in the tank with him.
This is so sad. And at that time, you were thinking of getting married, I guess.
At that exact time, I didn't know Greg.
Well, how did you meet your future husband?
We met at a party in West Hampton.
Okay. Is he athletically inclined?
Greg ran the marathon with me.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
This one to Hampton?
Yes.
She came to me with this idea. She's been a big fan of Jackrabbit since they opened.
This is our opportunity to run for something that's so important to us.
For her, promoting Ace in the Hole is a huge honor for her to do, and couldn't be more proud.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
But did he train with you?
He trained with me. We tried as hard as we could to stay together, but it's difficult. We have different schedules. Greg actually, a few weeks before the marathon, had a pretty serious knee injury. So he had actually taken a lot of time off his knee, and up until a week before we ran, I was telling him, you don't have to run. It's okay, I'll do it, and you don't have to, because I was really, really worried about him. He was limping the week before the marathon, and he just completely surprised me and finished. It was fantastic.
Oh, it is an incredible experience. Once you get to that starting line, well, you've been there 3 times before. Was this his first?
Yeah, it was his first.
Oh, I could imagine his feelings to be there, and you started together. Well,
yeah.
sounds like you guys agreed that you would go off and try to beat your 4 hours if you could.
Yeah, I ran off pretty quickly.
Okay. Were there any races in between that you could tell us that was significant for you, that helped you get prepared?
Greg and I and all the other Run for the Rabbits, we did the Fairfield Half Marathon.
It's all about motivation, train hard, be strong, think positive.
A cool race for me because it was where I went to college, so it was great to go back to my old stomping grounds. And we did that, and it was a really tough race.
I just thought positive about my family, friends, Mike, all the people supporting me, and that's what got me through it. You can do it.
It was good and hilly and hot, and it definitely prepared me for some tough conditions.
Okay. All 6 of you did that together?
Mm-hmm. And then in August, we also did the Brooklyn 10-miler in Prospect Park.
Oh, this is the Battle of Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is not just an ordinary 10-miler. Lee Silverman is very, very proud of that race. I think it's the second time he's done it, so it's pretty new.
Yeah.
Well, how did you do? Because Lee was telling me that he was going to have some timing mats, and it was going to have people, forecast what their time was going to be. Were you good at figuring out what your pace was going to be for that?
I actually didn't opt to do that. I probably would have guessed something horrible. But it was really cool. He had that set up, and he also had your time when you started one of the hardest hills, I guess. Your time when you started the hill and finished it for 3 times, because it was 3 laps, so you could see what your time was each time. Mm-hmm. I think mine just got slower and slower, unfortunately.
It's a training run, It's you got to tune the body for that. Oh, that's excellent.
It was a great race, though. I'd never run in Prospect Park before, so it's really beautiful.
That's the beauty about running. You get to see you're able to see the world. Actually, I was going to say the country, because some people try to do all 50 states, and some people try to run all 7 continents.
It's a cool goal.
Oh, very cool. Do you have any plans on continuing to run more different states or stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm always interested. I'd love to do New York City again, just because it was a really awesome race. But I always have my eye out on different races to, like you said, see the world.
This is so wonderful. Yes, runners do that. They love to run. And now that your husband gotten the taste of the Hampton, hopefully he'll want to do it again. He was injured, so.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too. But that must have been a very emotional run, because you're running in memory of your brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. Was there any? We all have the thing behind our heads. I said, you can't do it. What was your mantra to keep you going, especially since you left your husband behind and you were, you had the 4 hours you wanted to do? Yeah. Did you run with some of the other members?
No, we were all pretty separate. Uh-huh. Yeah. So there weren't that many people running the race. I think only about 500 that did the marathon. So at times it was lonely. I did feel like I was by myself. But really what I kept in mind was Mike. I thought about him, and I thought about what I was running for and who I was running for. And it was just really, really important for me to keep that in mind. And, the final push was about channeling Mike and having him give me some energy. I was wearing his dog tags, too. So it was a very great, like a physical, I would, they were right over my heart. So I'd feel the dog tags and feel the energy, and just, the last 6 miles were very tough for me.
I could imagine. But I would imagine Jonathan Kane probably jumped in there at some point.
He did, and that was great, too. He actually, Greg and I had shirts made that said Run USA and Ace in the Hole Foundation as part of our fundraising. And I saw Coach Kane at mile 22, and he came and kind of dramatically took a shirt off, and there was my Run USA shirt. So it really gave me a boost. You'll take any energy you can at that point.
Jonathan is such a terrific motivator. Yeah. Cool. Now the dog tags, was there any story? How did you get the dog tags? I think I read somewhere your husband surprised you with them or something like that?
Greg gave them to me the night before the race. So it was a nice little reminder.
Great. So you did the carbo loading the night before, and then he gave you the dog tags to motivate you. As if you needed any more motivation. Right, yeah. But that's very thoughtful.
It was really nice, yeah.
Okay. Well, what other interesting things happening in the training that you can share with us? Was there any things that happened nutritionally or clothing mishap or something like that?
I think through the training it was all about experimenting. I had I think it was either 18 or 20 mile training run where I learned the hard way how important it was to fuel during the run. I was running out in West Hampton and had some water, hidden in certain spots that I could grab a drink, but I really felt diminished I guess I bonked, as some people say, hit a wall, whatever. And I think it was because I didn't have enough goo or water, and it was hot, so I definitely learned the hard way the importance of fuel during a long run.
Well, that's interesting. Even though this wasn't your first marathon, you still had lots to learn.
Oh, yeah. I still have a lot to learn.
Okay. Well, yes, fueling and experimenting is very, very important. Now, in the terms of the training, did you guys start together as a group, or with Jonathan says, okay, we're going to start with a 3-miler, an easy run? How did the actual training begin for you?
It started really, we had a little interview where he asked me, what my times were, what my experience running was, and we started very slow. He said for the first, I would say 1 or 2 weeks, he said, just do what you'd normally do and we'll touch base, and then we went from there.
Did he tweak your nutrition? How did that work? Because you said you were discovering you weren't doing it right.
Yeah, every week I would email him how the runs went, and he would give me advice on what to do. And for the nutrition, I think after that, that hit the wall experience, he told me that, I'm forgetting the exact amount of calories, but he gave me, how much time I should wait until I have goo or chomps or whatever I'm going to have, and to make sure that I'm fully fueled up.
Okay, and always drink a little bit of water with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of tricks and to avoid taking the goo and Gatorade at the same time. It's goo and water, Gatorade by itself.
Right.
So you don't get that sugar bug.
Yeah, jolt.
Oh. So what was in terms of the training, what was the 2 or 3 things you wish you knew before that you know now, and that you hopefully will carry forward in future marathons?
Yeah, I think I really learned a lot about listening to my body, and if I feel like I'm running on empty, it's time to fuel, or if I feel like I'm not ready for a run, that I can rest, I can take a day off, and I really learned the importance of rest days, and your body and your muscles need to rest and rejuvenate.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned rest, because that seems to be a common thing. People think they have to run 7 days a week.
Right.
And actually taking the rest day is part of the plan. Yes, your body needs to rest to come back stronger than ever. And that was difficult for you not to run or exercise on a specific day?
Yeah, I mean, you feel, especially in the beginning of the training, I felt a little bit like antsy just to, be moving, and, I have to run a marathon, so I should be running. But it was nice to really appreciate the rest days and realize that my body needed them, and how much better I felt on Saturday morning after resting on Friday.
Yes, because now you're going to do that long, slow distance running on Saturday.
Right.
Well, cool. Well, it sounds like part of the interview process, I would imagine, was to make sure you were coachable, because you actually listened to your coach.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure made Jonathan's job a little easier. Didn't have to, hold you back and said you're doing too much.
Right.
Yes, because being coachable is very important to appreciate somebody else's experience. So it sounded like you took good advantage of Jonathan's know-how.
Absolutely. Yeah, I listened to everything he said.
Oh, good. I'm sure he's happy to hear that. Were there any social gatherings among the 6 of you, and to share stories, to tell Jonathan stories? Was there any stories that you guys said to tell about Jonathan, that the way he trained, or any peculiarities that he had?
Well, let's see. At the Battle of Brooklyn, he kind of surprised us and showed up dressed as George Washington, which was pretty cool. And he actually ran with a musket. I have no idea where he got it from, but it was very, very heavy. And he ran with it for 10 miles. So that was kind of a fun story.
Dressed as George Washington with the wig and the
whole
leggings.
Thing. Yes.
The Battle of Brooklyn. Oh, I think I saw a photo of that. We're Facebook pals, and he's very active, not only on Facebook, but also he blogs, and he likes to brag about all his students and all the people that he works with. So I know that's one of the good things, that he builds everybody's momentum, everybody's ego. That when I knew him when I ran with him at Nike Town Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh.
And he would motivate everybody. So I tell people, he made you feel like you were the star of
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah, he's great like that. I agree.
Okay. Well, any other stories you can share that was really unique or inspiring for you?
It was just a great experience having the camaraderie between, the other runners and my husband and with Jonathan and the whole team. We had a nice dinner the night before the marathon where everyone kind of, tried not to talk about running and just relax and motivate each other.
Where did you have this dinner?
A restaurant in Montauk.
Uh-huh.
I think it was called Luigi's.
When was the Hampton Marathon? It was just recently, like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, Saturday, September 24th.
Okay, so did you guys go over Saturday? So did you guys go up on Thursday as a group?
We all met there on Friday night.
Friday night for the restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay, did you stay at the same place or?
Yeah, we stayed at the same hotel.
Okay, and how did you get to the marathon?
A few of the runners had cars, so we all kind of carpooled.
How did you manage to get back home?
My parents and Greg's parents were there, so.
Oh my God, that must have been so emotional to have your family there.
Yeah, it was really nice. They're very supportive people.
Let's talk about the course itself. I'm not familiar with the Hampton Marathon.
What sticks out, I think, are the difficult spots, so I could talk about those. There were a lot of, it's very, very beautiful, very peaceful and tranquil, and, there are a lot of fields and vineyards and, water, and it was very beautiful. But some difficult parts where there were a lot of out and backs. So, it's always kind of discouraging to be going one way and then head straight back the other way. But that was a tough part, and I think
tough because you were seeing runners coming back and you wanted to be with them.
Yeah, you're like, should I just? Not really, but those were tough for me. But I think looking back at the race, the most difficult part was at around mile 22 is when the hills really picked up, and I train with hills. Of course, I run in Central Park, and I'm no stranger to hills, but at mile 22, hills feel so much different. And,
yes, your legs are not fresh.
Yeah, so that was really hard. It's almost like I wish, in previous marathons, I feel like the hills were earlier in the race and they feel like nothing. But to have them so late in the race was tough.
So you didn't break your 4 hours. Was the weather conducive? Was it a cool day?
The weather was muggy. It was hot.
Oh, it was hot.
It was not what I expected, but it was, I had water every mile and dumped a lot all over me, so.
Well, you know what they say, you expect the unexpected and anything could happen.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was just a very humid day.
Yeah, but you know what? The weather the day before said 80% chance it's going to rain all day, and it didn't do that, so.
Okay.
We were
Well,
happy.
that could have helped, if you run in the rain at all.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I didn't miss a workout, so if it was raining over the summer, I was out there.
I love running in the rain myself.
Yeah.
I hate starting in the rain, but once you're running and it rains, you can keep on going, and
Yeah.
you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Now, Ace in the Hole, what's in the future for your foundation? What do you see going forward for 2012 and beyond?
We have been doing a walk every year at Lido West Beach, and that's usually the second or third week in May, depending on the tides. And it's been growing and growing. It's a walk, an Ace in the Hole walk or a run. It's about 2 miles on the beach. And what's really special about the event is Lido West is where Mike grew up surfing. He would come to the beach every day, or close to every day, I guess, and surf and, spend some nice time there. So we all gather there and do the walk. And there's a memorial there for him. It's a surf rack. So it's really great to get everyone there and see that and kind of feel his spirit that day.
Where is Lido Beach?
It's in Long Beach on Long Island.
Okay.
Quick, easy train ride. You should check it out.
Okay. Do you have Ace in the Hole Facebook?
Yep, we're on Facebook. It's also, my husband designed the website himself. It's aceintheholefoundation.org.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think you mentioned before we went on the air that your group raised the most funds among the 6.
Yep.
Was that part of part of the competition to raise as much money? What was the incentive or the bonuses for that?
The competition was whoever raised the most funds was the winner. So Jackrabbit didn't care who came in first in the race, but it was all about the fundraising, which I really liked. And we ended up raising over $21,000 for Ace in the Hole.
Wow.
So
this is over what time period? 18 weeks or approximately?
I would say about 5 months.
Excellent. So what was the bonus prize for coming in first in terms of fundraising?
Yeah, well, as the winner, we actually got to choose out of a pool of prizes, and as the winner, I got to choose first. There are a bunch of trips, I think, a TV, and our grand prize, we're going to Miami this spring with, lots of nice bonuses, dinner, breakfast, rental car, so we're excited.
Cool. So everybody got to pick a prize from first to last. But really, I think the most important thing that each one had the chance to fundraise for their particular fundraiser.
Right.
You had Ace in the Hole, and somebody else could have had a different charity.
Right, and everyone was very passionate about their cause. They all had a personal reason that they were fundraising for that charity, which I thought was really great.
Cool. And then I guess Jackrabbit also provided social media for you. So you said you had a Facebook page, you had a blog. Did you maintain a blog?
Yeah, I really loved blogging. It was a really great way for me to, express a lot of feelings, and, a lot of emotion goes through in a marathon and, with Ace in the Hole, and it was great. I loved blogging, and yeah, Jackrabbit set me up with a cool webpage for that.
Excellent. Well, we're almost out of time. I want to wish you great success with your charity, and thank you so much for dropping by and sharing with us these terrific stories.
Thank you.
One last question. Do you think Jackrabbit will repeat the Run for the Rabbit?
I hope so. It got the word out for a lot of charities, and I think it was a great idea, and I hope they do it again.
Hopefully Silverman will watch this show and will do it again. It is a unique charity in terms of a store doing this.
Yeah.
So I commend Jackrabbit and Lee Silverman for thinking of it. And I think you agreed that they should do it again.
Absolutely, sure.
Okay. Well, thank you again so much.
Thank you so much for having me.